How to use heavy mechs in Battletech. That's what we're going to focus on in this vlog. And we're going to build that Tactica checklist, what we've been looking at. Now, we explored mediums. I pushed up yesterday to the channel under the Battletech playlist, Lights, this idea of a template where you can take a heavy mech and begin to analyze it from a top-down level and then look at the mech specifically and ask yourself the question, what role does this mech serve? What is it good at? What is it not good at? Where's that balance point? And then you can jump into my Battletech archive and look for the individual tactica of the mechs. But I wanted to push out these kind of generalized light, medium, heavy assault tanks and infantry vlogs to kind of give the new players to Battletech and the Battletech community just an entry point, right? A way to begin to group as you flip through the tech manuals to kind of understand where we're going and what we're trying to do. Now, heavy mechs. This is where things get very, very interesting because now you have the structure, you have the internal, you have the tonnage to mount a variety of weapons, primary weapons and secondary weapons with redundancy, plus armor. Primary weapons in Battletech, these are the weapons that you're going to be firing most of the time. They have a good damage value, they have a good range. Now, this is limited by tonnage, of course, right? If I go all the way back to light mechs and look at a stock Locust, the primary weapon is one medium laser. You've got one medium laser. Nothing wrong with that. That's the tonnage. But now when you get into heavies, your primary weapon begins to jump to PPCs, to autocannons, to large lasers. You've got some significant bite. Secondary weapons, these are weapons that you fire when the situation arises, or you fire at close range when you're committed. For heavies, we see multiple short-range missile packs. We see multiple medium lasers. We see small lasers. And then redundancy in Battletech is where you have more than one. It's one thing to fire one PPC. Yeah, I'm going to try and bring down my modifiers. I'm going to try and catch you, but I have one dice roll. You have two PPCs. You have two dice rolls. You have one long-range missile pack versus two or three. So the more weapons you fire, the greater the chance of hitting at any variable. So heavies have this intersection of those three factors that give them punch. Well, we would expect that. They're heavy mechs. So the first thing with heavy mechs for most machines, now there are a few inner sphere that run extremely cool, but this is where we really have to watch heat management. Sometimes you push the heat, but we want to be able to constantly be able to fire something. And if needed, when the opportunity presents itself, deliver that killing blow. So if I have a Warhammer, and I like to use the Warhammer as an illustration because it's one of my favorite machines, but it's a great example for a heavy mech, and it's awesome and fantastic to play. Also, you've got those two PPCs. I can only clear so much heat. So I need to be aware of my target, how I'm firing my two primary weapons, not pushing the heat so much so that if things close or if I am forced to move up, now I'm crippled with the other weapons that I can fire. And of course, the more you push heat, there's negative modifiers, there's a possible shutdown. Your ammo can possibly explode. So what we're looking for heavy mechs, absolutely heat discipline. Heat discipline does not mean running cool all the time and not building heat. It's knowing, hey, this mech is about to go down. If I can finish it off, let's blast it away. If I push the heat, well, then I'll have a turn or two to cool off. Versus, hey, this mech is ready to go down, but two of its lance mates are still up perfectly fine. I'll take the shot at the damaged mech, but I can't push that heat. Now, secondary is armor. One of the things we explored in the previous medium video, I like to think of armor as your last hope. I don't want to go into a game being like, well, okay, I'm a heavy mech. I can take 3 or 4 hits and then it'll go to internals, but I can take another one. I want to do my best to stay at range, to have modifiers, to have cover. Yes, absolutely, you're going to take hits in Battletech. You're out there, right? You're in the middle of combat. But I don't want to just wade out into the open and be like, I've got lots of armor because I'm a heavy mech. We can only take so much punishment. And what you begin to see with heavy mechs is the variety of different weapons that they have. Now, you have some that are pure energy boats, meaning pure energy weapons, but you see a variety of heavies that have mixed arms. Machine guns, short-range missiles, long-range missiles, autocannons. You've got a lot of ammo cycling through that mech. Things go into internals, you could hit a crit and just detonate, self-detonate. I mean, it does happen. So we want to be this duality of conservative with our cover and how we advance. It looks cool, and sometimes, look, send the word, we ride at dawn. Sometimes you just run up the map out in the open, guns blazing, occasionally, sometimes. But if there's better options, it's better to move cover to cover, piece to piece, terrain to terrain with your heavies. Utilize that. Now, I say this again for discipline, glory discipline, right? Because you're going to have to be aggressive with those heavy mechs. If we look at a game of Battletech that we're playing, and some of you play at tonnage, some play at battle value, some play just like, I don't know, pick some mechs, but usually there's some currency, let's look at battle value, that you're buying. A lot of points go into heavy mechs. So we need to be earning. We need to be out there on the hex map earning. You are not hanging back doing nothing unless maybe you're an archer, maybe you're a Jaeger mech, but even then you want to be mobile. So the fact with a heavy mech is in a controlled, disciplined way, you need to be aggressive. You need to be pushing that battle value, pushing that armor, pushing that weapons up. But always be ready to pause or move to some more cover, because at some point, right, we don't want to lose that. But be mindful, battle value, you've got a lot of battle value sunk into these machines. I'm not even talking about campaign play. We want to be aware of that. So that's kind of the template for heavy mechs, how to play a heavy mech. Now what you do is you look through the tech manual and you see the heavy machines that you want to try out. Look at the weapons configurations, look at the speed, look at the armor, look at the heat sinks, and ask yourself, what is the role does this mech play and where is it weak? And the areas that it's weak, how can I complement it with other mechs, or if we're playing Total Warfare, with other machines, vehicles, infantry, to support those weaknesses and utilize the weapons that it has, utilize the armor, utilize being aggressive in a controlled way on that hex map.